Maggie Sullivan had been working double shifts at Ellie's Diner for the past 2 weeks, trying to make ends meet. The bills were piling up, her little brother needed school supplies, and her mother's medical expenses were becoming a nightmare. But she kept pushing forward, flashing that same friendly smile to every customer who walked in. Ellie's Diner was one of those classic American joints. Red booths, a long counter with spinning stools, and a jukebox that barely worked but added to the charm. It was the kind of place where truckers, office workers, and late-night wanderers found comfort in a plate of hot pancakes and bottomless coffee. It had been a slow evening when the doorbell jingled, signaling a new customer. Maggie turned from the coffee pot to see a tall young man walk in. He had an air of quiet confidence about him, dressed in a simple black jacket and jeans. His sandy blonde hair was neatly styled, and though he tried to blend in, something about him stood out. He chose a corner booth near the window, away from the small crowd of regulars. Maggie grabbed a menu and walked over, putting on her usual cheerful expression. "Hey there, welcome to Ellie's. Can I get you something to drink?" The young man looked up from the menu, his blue eyes sharp yet kind. "Just a Coke, please." Maggie nodded, jotting it down. "You got it. Need a minute with the menu?" He hesitated, then shook his head. "I'll take a cheeseburger and fries. Medium well." "Great choice. Best burgers in town," she said, grinning. He gave a small smile in return but didn't say much else. Something about him seemed familiar, but Maggie couldn't quite place it. She had waited on all kinds of people over the years, local politicians, struggling artists, even a few celebrities passing through town. But there was something different about this one. As she walked back to the counter to place his order, her coworker, Lisa, nudged her. "You know who that is, right?" Lisa whispered. Maggie frowned, glancing back at the booth. The young man was quietly scrolling on his phone, minding his own business. "No, should I?" Lisa smirked. "That's Barron Trump." Maggie almost dropped the notepad. "The president's son? Are you serious?" Lisa nodded. "Yup. I saw a couple of Secret Service guys outside, keeping a low profile. He's probably just passing through." Maggie glanced at him again, this time with new eyes. Barron Trump, the son of the most powerful man in the country. And here he was, sitting in Ellie's Diner, ordering a cheeseburger like any regular customer. She took a deep breath, deciding to treat him just like she would anyone else. After all, he was just a kid, well, a young man now trying to have a normal meal. She delivered his order with a warm smile. "1 cheeseburger and fries. Anything else I can get you?" He looked up, considering for a moment before shaking his head. "No, this is perfect. Thank you." Maggie nodded and left him to eat in peace. She couldn't help but notice how polite he was. Quiet, respectful, no special treatment expected. As she refilled coffee for the other tables, she stole another glance at Barron. He wasn't glued to his phone like most people his age. Instead, he looked out the window, lost in thought. Maybe being the president's son wasn't as glamorous as people thought. A few minutes later, he finished his meal and waved Maggie over for the check. She printed it out and placed it on the table with a smile. "Whenever you're ready. No rush." He nodded, reaching into his jacket for his wallet. Maggie turned to help another customer, but when she returned to his booth, he was already gone. The check was paid, and a neatly folded napkin sat on the table. Curious, she picked it up and unfolded it. Her breath caught in her throat as she read the note scribbled in blue ink. And just like that, her hand started shaking. Tears welled up in her eyes. She couldn't believe what she was seeing. Maggie's hands trembled as she held the napkin, her eyes scanning the handwritten message over and over. "Maggie, thank you for the kindness you show to strangers. I can tell you work hard, and the world needs more people like you. Take care of yourself. Barron." And underneath the note, she saw something even more shocking. A crisp, neatly folded check tucked beneath the receipt. Her breath hitched as she pulled it out, her heart hammering in her chest. The amount written on it made her legs go weak. $10,000. Maggie's knees nearly buckled, and she had to grip the edge of the table to steady herself. A wave of emotion crashed over her. Shock, disbelief, gratitude all rolled into one. This couldn't be real. It had to be a mistake. Maybe he had meant to leave a $100 tip and accidentally added too many zeros? Everything okay, hon? Lisa's voice jolted her back to reality. Maggie turned to her coworker, eyes wide with tears threatening to spill. She handed Lisa the napkin and check with shaky hands. Lisa read it, her mouth dropping open. "No way," Lisa whispered. "No freaking way." Maggie looked toward the door, half expecting Barron to walk back in and say it was a mistake. But he was gone. The only sign that he had ever been there was the now empty booth and the life-changing gift he had left behind. I have to give this back," Maggie stammered, wiping at her eyes. "It's too much. I can't accept this." Lisa grabbed her shoulders, looking her dead in the eye. "Girl, are you out of your mind? That's 10 grand. Do you know what this could do for you? For your mom." Maggie's chest tightened. Her mom, the overdue medical bills, her little brother's school fees, the mounting rent. The weight of responsibility she had been carrying suddenly felt a little lighter. Still, doubt gnawed at her. "But why me? He doesn't even know me." Lisa smirked. "He said it in the note. He saw your kindness. Maybe he knows what it's like to be judged before people even know you. Maybe he just wanted to help." Maggie exhaled shakily, still staring at the check. She had seen celebrities leave big tips before. There were plenty of viral stories about it. But this wasn't just some PR stunt. No cameras. No crowd. Just a quiet young man who saw her, really saw her, and decided to change her life in a single moment. The bell above the diner door jingled again, and for a second, her heart leaped, thinking he had come back. But it was just a couple of regulars. "I need to sit down," Maggie muttered, sinking into the booth. Lisa grinned and slid into the seat across from her. "So, what are you gonna do?" Maggie took a deep breath, her mind racing. One thing was certain, her life had just changed forever. Maggie sat in the booth, staring at the check as if it might disappear at any moment. Her pulse was still racing. Lisa nudged her shoulder, grinning. "Earth to Maggie. You just got a $10,000 tip from the president's son. Are you gonna celebrate or just sit there in shock all night?" Maggie let out a shaky laugh, still overwhelmed. "I don't even know if I can accept it. It doesn't feel real." Lisa leaned in. "Mags, how many nights have you worked overtime just to keep the lights on? How many times have you skipped meals to make sure your little brother eats? This isn't just money. It's a miracle." Maggie bit her lip. Lisa wasn't wrong. Ever since her dad walked out years ago, she had taken on the role of provider. Their mom worked when she could, but with her health declining, the burden had fallen on Maggie. The diner job helped, but it was never enough. Every paycheck was stretched too thin, every bill a battle. She exhaled, gripping the check tightly. "It just feels wrong to take this without at least saying thank you. But how would I even find him?" Lisa tapped her chin. "I bet the Secret Service guys outside know where to find him. Or maybe Twitter? People post about celebrity sightings all the time." Maggie groaned. "Right, because messaging the president's son on social media won't make me look like a crazy person." Lisa shrugged. "Hey, crazier things have happened. But for now, you should go home. You've been here all day." Maggie glanced at the clock. She had 3 more hours left in her shift, but Lisa was right. There was no way she could focus. She was too shaken. "All right," she sighed. "Can you cover for me?" Lisa gave her a dramatic salute. "Go forth, rich girl. But don't forget the little people when you make it big." Maggie laughed, shoving Lisa's shoulder. "Shut up." Tucking the check carefully into her pocket, she grabbed her bag and stepped outside. The cool night air hit her skin, helping to ground her. Across the street, she spotted 2 men in dark suits near a black SUV, Secret Service agents. Her heart pounded. Should she go over? Would they even acknowledge her? Before she could decide, one of them turned, met her gaze, and gave her a slight nod. They knew who she was. Maggie's legs felt like jelly as she crossed the street toward the 2 Secret Service agents. Their presence alone made her nervous, but she reminded herself she wasn't in trouble. She just wanted to say thank you. One of the agents, a tall man with a buzz cut and a stoic expression, stepped forward before she could even speak. Miss Sullivan? Her eyes widened. Yeah. How do you know my name? The agent didn't smile, but his tone was surprisingly calm. Mr. Trump asked us to keep an eye on things after he left. Maggie's stomach flipped. He had asked them to watch over her? Oh. Well, I need to thank him. He left something for me and I don't think I can accept it without at least saying something to him. The agent exchanged a glance with his partner before nodding. I'll let him know you'd like to speak. Wait here. Maggie barely had time to process what was happening before the agent pulled out a discreet earpiece and murmured something into it. A few moments later, the back door of the black SUV cracked open. Barron Trump stepped out. Maggie sucked in a breath. It was one thing to serve him at the diner, to see him as just another customer. But now, standing before him with the knowledge of what he had done for her, it felt entirely different. He walked toward her, hands in his pockets, his expression unreadable. You wanted to talk? Maggie nodded quickly, suddenly feeling a little ridiculous. What was she supposed to say? That she had never expected a moment like this? That no one had ever done something so kind for her before? She settled for the truth. Barron, I mean, Mr. Trump. He let out a small chuckle. Just Barron is fine. She exhaled. Okay. Barron. I don't even know where to start. I saw what you left me and she held up the check. This is too much. I don't think I can take it. His eyebrows raised slightly, but he didn't seem surprised. Why not? Maggie hesitated. Because I didn't do anything to deserve this. For the first time, Barron's expression softened. He studied her for a moment as if choosing his words carefully. Maggie, I've met a lot of people who treat me differently because of my last name. You didn't. You were just kind. You didn't expect anything from me and you didn't try to impress me. You were just yourself. Maggie blinked, caught off guard by the sincerity in his voice. He continued, people assume I have everything, but money doesn't make life perfect. I've seen firsthand how hard people like you work and how little they get in return. If I can change that, even for one person, why wouldn't I? Maggie swallowed the lump in her throat. She had never thought about what life must be like for him. To always be in the spotlight. To always wonder if people were being genuine. Barron took a step closer. I don't want you to feel like you owe me anything. This isn't charity. It's a thank you. He gave her a small, almost shy smile. Just promise me you'll use it for something good. Maggie felt her eyes sting. She clutched the check in her hand, realizing that, for the first time in a long time, she had the chance to change her life. I promise, she whispered. Barron gave her a nod, then glanced at the agents. I should go. Maggie watched as he turned to leave, but before he got into the SUV, she called after him. Barron. He paused, looking back. She smiled through her tears. Thank you. A slow smile spread across his face. He nodded once, then ducked into the car. As the SUV pulled away, Maggie pressed the check against her chest, feeling something she hadn't in a long time. Hope. Maggie stood there long after the SUV had disappeared down the street, gripping the check like it was some kind of lifeline. The crisp paper felt heavier than it should, not because of its monetary value, but because of what it represented. A chance. A fresh start. She finally forced herself to move, turning back toward Ellie's diner. Lisa was waiting just inside, practically bouncing on her feet. Well, did you talk to him? Maggie nodded, still in a daze. Yeah, I did. Lisa grabbed her arm. And Maggie let out a slow breath. He meant it. The money, the note, everything. He saw me working hard and wanted to help. Lisa whistled. Dang, you really made an impression on a billionaire's kid. Maggie chuckled, shaking her head. It wasn't like that. He just understands more than people probably realize. Lisa crossed her arms. So, what are you going to do with it? That was the big question. Maggie had never had this kind of money in her life. She could pay off the medical bills that kept her mother up at night. She could finally replace her little brother's old, falling apart backpack. Her heart clenched as an idea hit her. The diner had been her second home for years. Ellie, the elderly owner, had been struggling to keep it running. Rising costs, fewer customers. It was only a matter of time before Ellie had to sell. But what if she didn't have to? Maggie's pulse quickened. What if she could use this gift to not just help her family, but to save the place that had given her so much? She turned to Lisa, a slow grin spreading across her face. I think I know exactly what I'm gonna do. A week later, Maggie sat across from Ellie in the tiny back office of the diner. The older woman adjusted her reading glasses, scanning the paperwork in front of her, then looked up in disbelief. You want to invest in the diner? Ellie asked, her voice filled with shock. Maggie nodded. Not just invest. I want to help run it. You've done so much for me, for everyone here. I don't want to see this place go under. Ellie blinked rapidly, and for a moment, Maggie thought she might cry. Sweetheart, where did you even get this kind of money? Maggie smiled softly. A good person saw something in me, and I want to pay it forward. Ellie reached across the desk, squeezing Maggie's hands. You've got a good heart, honey. I'd be honored to have you help keep this place alive. Maggie swallowed the lump in her throat, warmth spreading through her chest. For the first time in a long time, she wasn't just surviving. She was building something. And it had all started with a simple act of kindness. 3 months later, Ellie's diner had a fresh coat of paint, new equipment, and a growing customer base. Word had spread about the young waitress who had been given a gift and turned it into something bigger. Maggie had never heard from Barron again, but she didn't need to. His note had said it all. And every time she served a meal with a smile, every time she saw a family enjoying a hot plate of food they might not have been able to afford elsewhere, she knew she was exactly where she was meant to be.